invite down the woman of the hour, storyteller, actress, writer, Lilly Singh. Of course. I saw the film yesterday.
Yes, you did.
I have not stopped talking about it. I've been telling my friends, you guys need to go see this. It's hilarious. It kept me engaged all the time, and it's such a fun ride.
Thank you so much. Also, before we're going to do some Q&As, we're going to have some questions to ask, but before that, I just want to genuinely say to every person here, I so appreciate you being here. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. I know times are rough. You work so hard for your money. You guys bought a ticket to come watch this movie, and it means so much to me. So thank you so much. A round of applause for yourself for being here. Thank you for supporting independent films, y'all. We appreciate you. Thank you.
So let's not waste any time and get into the Q&A. So obviously, in addition to starring in the film, you co-wrote the film. And what inspired you to write this story? Where does this come from?
This comes from trauma. This is my pain in a comedy. I just transcribed my therapy sessions and made a movie, basically. No, I feel like, listen, I don't know who can relate here, but thank you for the lights. Okay, let's go. Give it for Anthony, y'all. He's crushing over there. Let's go. Let's go. Your name's Anthony, right? Is it Anthony? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. How many people here grew up in a culture? I grew up in South Asian culture, but I think this is a common amongst many cultures. If you got the talk, raise your hand. If you didn't get the talk, raise your hand. Okay, yeah. You see, trauma. I wasn't really taught sex ed in school. If you were thoroughly taught sex ed in school, raise your hand. Okay, if you weren't taught sex ed, raise your hand. Okay, there you go. So, me too. I feel like since as long as I can remember, sex and sexuality has been such a scary topic for me. Right up until adulthood. In every relationship I've ever had, my mom and dad are here. I've never dated anyone, just so you know. But I will say, where are they? Where's mom and dad? There they are. I'm not even gonna look at you. I've just always been so scared of it. Especially as a woman, I felt so uncomfortable in my body. I never felt empowered. I never knew how to have a conversation around sex. No one ever spoke to me about sex in an educational way. And so it just stressed me out my whole life. And so when the script came into my inbox 7 years ago by a writer named Neil Patel, I was like, imagine a sex comedy, first of all, with a person of color. Second of all, with a woman. Like, imagine how many young girls, or just people in general, could see themselves in this. And I think it's such an important thing to normalize this topic. And so I really, really believe in this project for that reason.
It's beautiful.
Oh my God.
I know. I heard that. I was like, oh, it's optimism. And, touching on what you said, having a woman of color at the forefront of the film, this movie is filled with women of so much diversity in front of the camera and behind the camera. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about how important that was for you to have that when making this film?
Totally. I mean, I feel like it's really important because when you're making a movie like this, like everything from the props to the casting department, they need to understand the vision. And that is why, even though I'll be honest with you, I love acting and I love writing, producing is some bullshit. I'm gonna tell you right now. Producing is so difficult and it's so tedious, but it's so important for me to be a producer and it's so important for the director to be a woman of color because if you're not also behind the scenes, I find that the cultural parts of the movie get watered down a lot. Absolutely. And suddenly the props don't make sense and suddenly that's when you watch a movie and you're like, that thing is wrong in the background, it would never be.
From a different culture.
Exactly. And so I feel like it's important behind the scenes to also have representation. It's really tough though. Yeah. And I'll be honest and tell you why it's tough. We shot the film in Toronto, and Toronto's super diverse, and so our sound department was diverse. I remember during the Hindi dialogue one day, the literal sound person came up to me and was like, by the way, she said that Hindi word wrong. And I was like, I'm obsessed with this. Literally, I'm obsessed with this. The fact that you know that and you can tell me that is amazing. But if those people don't exist behind the scenes, suddenly you're like, oh, there's an error there, that doesn't make sense, that's not culturally accurate. But why it's tough is because I will admit there's sometimes a struggle to find diverse people in some departments of film, mostly because we were all raised to not have a job in the arts. That's literally why. And now it's getting better because more and more people of color are getting into the arts, but that's what I think is so important to empower kids that want to get into the arts because we need them. We need them in every part of TV and film and arts for that reason.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you've always been a storyteller, but this feature film is sort of a newer medium for you. Did you have any challenges with that, and how did you overcome those challenges tackling on such a different medium?
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone knows that I started on YouTube in 2010.
Oh,
thank you. Oh, okay. It was. Hi. I started on YouTube and I was the decision maker for everything. I decided what was funny, what was not, what the edit was, what the marketing was, and it was great because I'm a control freak. And then you do something like a movie where there's so many people involved, and I'm so type A and I'm such a control freak. And first of all, let me tell you the best thing about me in my whole life is that I'm an AMC Stubs member. I'm not getting paid to say that. I'm not even getting paid to say that. Yes, I literally am not even being paid to say this. I had a surprise party like last year for my birthday, and people were supposed to dress up as things Lilly loves, and someone literally dressed up as Nicole Kidman from that ad. Because I love being an AMC Stubs member. It's the number one thing about me.
Heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
It does. Heartbreak feels good in a place. Like, we come to this place for magic, and we do, don't we? We absolutely do. So where was I going with this? Right. Love AMC, but there's a caveat. But the control freak in me, you only find out which theaters your movie's gonna be in like 3 days before it comes out. Did you know that? So today, my movie comes out Friday. I found out today which theaters it's gonna be in.
Wow,
so
that's crazy.
The question of what's difficult about a movie is I have to alleviate so much control in the creative process and the edit. And so when I'm watching the movie, I'm so proud of it. But every time I watch it, I'm like, I wish I could change that. I wish that didn't be like that.
Right.
And maybe that's just the nature of being a sensitive artist. But it was really tough to let go of control and not be in control of every single thing.
Yeah, and I think with independent filmmaking, there's so many struggles where you have so much creative freedom, but also it's a struggle. And can you talk more about how difficult it can be with independent filmmaking and how that process was?
Totally. I'm gonna keep it 100. I have no filter. I hope you guys know this by now. It's hard. My therapist is intimately familiar with this process and all the people involved because I've needed so much therapy because of this movie. I've worked on it for 7 years. It is an independently financed feature, like you said, so we had a very small budget. I submitted the script for this movie literally an hour before the writer's strike. So during the filming of this movie, we only, if anyone's here is in production, we only had white pages. We only had one draft of the script, and it could never be changed during production. So anyone here that works in movies know that generally when you go on set, every day there's a new version of the script they send you. There's new pages because they're tweaking things and adjusting things, and I was not able to do that even once with the shooting of this movie. And it's evident in 2 places in the movie, where as a viewer, you're probably like, why is this happening? Why is this like this? One is when my co-star Sabrina Jalise goes, "You've been iced!" and she's holding a beer. That's supposed to be a Smirnoff Ice, but they did not clear it.
I just assumed it was a reference I didn't understand.
You know what? So they did not clear it, and so I was like, we're gonna have to figure out, because I can't rewrite the scene. You're gonna have to hold a beer and make a joke, and we improv like a joke about her being colorblind, and I'll like say I'm your favorite white friend. We made it work. The second part is that Alex, the character, is written as like Thai or Korean or something else. Yeah, the actor we cast is Filipino. So there's an awkward stumble of like Filipino side. That whole thing is because we had to improv of how to fix that.
I feel like that's just a testament to your skills and your cast skills, because I didn't notice that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. But all this to say, like, it was really difficult. So all to say, I was up against a lot of challenges, and even through the distribution of this film, like, I'll keep it real with you, I have put so much of my own money into this movie. There is no world in which I will ever make it back. I know this, but I love it so much that I just don't care. Some projects make money. Other projects, I'm like, this one, it doesn't matter. I just believe in it so much. It's okay, I'll lose money. But when you're in a you know what? Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Because usually if you have a big studio budget, I'm on a press tour right now. I've paid for every flight, every hotel for me and my team, my hair and makeup, my wardrobe. I've paid for other people's hair and makeup to come to events. I have paid out of pocket for the events related to this event. I literally have to call my business manager every day to be like, is this okay? Am I gonna be okay? Like, I literally will have to make financial changes in my life to support the fact that I did this movie, and I'm just gonna accept that and be proud of it and just work.
Yeah,
and
you should be. Yeah, give her a round of applause. You should be proud of it. Because you can see the heart in the film, and you can tell that you're proud of it. It's a story that so many people need of all ages. And I think that that's very important, and I'm so glad that you're
I know, I don't hope that's okay that I said that, because I know when usually people do press, they're not that open, but I was like, no, I want these people to know.
They should.
I want them to know.
A lot of people don't realize the inner workings that go into production, pre-production, post-production, because they just see the beautiful end results. But there's a lot of nitty-gritty that goes into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Work, mama. Are you guys having fun?
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Also, you know why there's empty seats? So many of my family members and friends that don't live, this is really cute actually, that don't live in the cities. I've got like 10 messages that are like, I bought a bunch of tickets even though I don't live there. So if you see empty seats, that's why. Isn't that so sweet? My first cousin today called me, she's like, I'm gonna buy a bunch of tickets, and if it's empty, just deal with it. But they're not even here. Isn't that sweet? That's what it's gonna take. Community and love. We love it.
The dollars count.
Absolutely.
Especially opening weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to that, this is your first feature, and it has a lot of intimate scenes that can, maybe be a little embarrassing. Takes such bravery to do. What was your process going about those intimate scenes, creating a safe space for not only yourself, but the other castmates?
Totally. So it is my first feature. It's first time acting, writing a feature, and producing. So it's a big deal for me.
Wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah, a lot of hats. And for it to be my first feature acting, it was really scary to be like, and now I'm going to make a sex comedy where I masturbate and do lots of things that are very awkward. It was, listen, you're doing, especially the masturbation scenes, I'll be honest, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna have to go into like a really different headspace and really just commit and just lean in. And I had to practice a little the day before, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't to prep for those intimacy scenes. I really wanted to commit, and so y'all don't even want to know what my search history looks like. And I will tell you that my assistant, God bless her, where's she at? Right here. Hey, give it up for Nina. She's amazing. She was tasked with, is HR here? No, good. She was tasked with researching masturbation scenes and sending them to me via email. And so there's just a bunch of porn links in my inbox from Nina that are just like, because I wanted to look like because one thing I didn't want is like that over-the-top male gazy type of like thing you see. I was like, no, I want to make it like really authentic, try my best to like make this grounded. And so yeah, I had to prep very awkwardly, but I just tried my best to lean in and be like, yo. And the good thing about that is there's an intimacy coordinator on set, everyone's safe, and there's like a small crew during those scenes, so it's like everyone feels very comfortable. But yeah, I just had to really lean in and just be like, I'm not going to touch myself, everyone.
And keeping on the awkward subject, so your parents saw the film for the first time yesterday. We have mom and dad. What was their reaction? First, what did you think, how they were going to react, and what was the reaction they gave you?
Well, first of all, let me tell you that. Remember how I said I submitted the script an hour before the writer's strike? At that time, I was 35. And I remember being like, I worked on this for 7 years, amazing to submit it. And right before I clicked send, I was like, I didn't tell my mom about this. And I had to immediately FaceTime her to ask her permission, call it trauma, whatever it is, 35 years old. I had to call my mom and be like, Mama, am I allowed to do this movie? And I had no time, the clock was ticking. And I was like, I gotta submit. And she's like, well, what's it about? And me and my mom never had to talk. And so I was like, okay, it's about sex, there's a masturbation scene, there's a vibrator scene, I'm listing off all these things. This is a pause. She goes, do you use a vibrator? And I'm like, no! Don't ask me these questions! And then after all of this, my mom said the sweetest thing to me ever. She said, if you think it's okay, you should do it. And I feel like it was the first time someone gave me the permission to be like, you can make your own choice. You don't need my permission to do this. And so I submitted the script, I did it. My mom helped on the movie. She's in the credits as the cultural consultant. She actually did help with the India scenes. She made sure everything was accurate. She made sure the dialogue was correct. So she was on set helping with her little headset, being a cutie. And so, they hadn't seen it, and they watched it yesterday, and admittedly, I was stressed. I was like, listen, my parents are super cool, but it's gonna be awkward for them to see this, like naturally. Very concerned also for my dad to watch it. And I was sitting there in the theater and watching the scene, and I looked over at my dad, and he was like, and I was like, oh my God, this is the day I die. This is how I pass away. This is it right here. And after the movie's done, we get into the car, and I just went, okay, what did you think? And my dad was like, I loved it. He was like, yes, sure, there were some scenes that were awkward and some that I maybe looked away, but he's like, I thought it was so funny. I didn't think it was actually a big deal. I heard my dad say the word sex for the first time in my life, also. And so they both really liked it, and I was like, this is why this movie's important, healing generational trauma, that my parents could go to their daughter's sex comedy. Isn't that amazing? Give my parents a round of applause. That's amazing. So I really applaud that. Because I don't know how I would feel going to my daughter's sex comedy. Like, they've already evolved so much, and they encourage all of their aunties and uncles. And in fact, my dad was like, I actually think all older Indian people should go see this movie. He's like, I think it's more made for us than anyone else. And so I thought that was really special. So who here would actually tell their parents to watch this movie? Be real with me. Be real with me. Yeah, for real? For real? Also be real with me. Who wouldn't tell their parents to watch it? It's okay, raise your hand. Yeah.
You would watch it with their parents.
Ooh, for real?
Okay. Scattered hands.
Okay. Out of curiosity, why wouldn't you tell your parents to watch it?
Oh, just no.
No? Just no? Just no?
It's
What do
like,
you think?
if it comes up in conversation, it's like immediately like I won't even like deflect. She will. Like my mom will be the one to be like,
Got it.
yeah, well, we should cook now, right?
I understand why. It's because your parents are virgins, obviously. I understand. Yes, I understand.
I'm trying to see what other questions we got for you.
Also, how much time do we have?
Yeah. Are we good on time or are we?
How much?
Get back to you on that one.
Oh, okay. Anthony, you're doing a great job. They got 5 minutes. I'm also so chill. If any of you have questions, can I also say one thing? If any of your questions, I'm so happy to answer them. But can I have one request also? Actually, I'm gonna do it at the end. Your question.
Oh my god, you say the thing.
No, I'll say it at the end. It'll be more powerful.
Let's
Yeah.
Okay.
Your question's kind of deep.
Well, I think.
Let's go.
I don't know. Okay.
What's your name?
Aneri.
Aneri?
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for making this.
Of course.
It's really emotional for me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dom.
Okay. So I am working on, I guess it's a sex comedy about my own queer coming out journey.
Let's go.
Okay. And one of the things I was thinking about when I was watching this and you said the word trauma is like, for me, like it's based off of me. And so every time I watch a cut, I have like a full blown spiral. And I'm so, and then I've had to like learn, here's how to like come back to myself. And so I'm really curious for you, you already have this like public persona and now you're making this feature film based on your trauma. When you were making it, did you experience that? Like how did you deal with making something based off of your own trauma and then still maintain groundedness in your own life?
That's a really good question. That's really brave of you. Give it up, y'all. That was a really great question. Also, my publicist is breaking on hives that this is an unfiltered, unmonitored Q&A, but I don't care. I trust you wholeheartedly, all of you. Yeah, you know, there's some scenes when I watch the movie where I'm like, that's pulling at a heartstring because it's touching on something delicate. But I believe that is the power of art. I think that when, even the same thing in therapy, you know, when you go to therapy and you have a really tough session and you're so tired after, that's where the real work happens. The real work doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in the moments where you're having the spiral. The spiral is not bad, the spiral is good. It is very good. That means things are processing, things are going through your body, you know? So every time I watch it and those scenes come up where I'm like, that hurts, I'm like, and it should, and that's good, and that's why I make things like this. That's why we're artists, that's why we tell stories. If it was comfortable and easy, what would be the point? So you were doing the brave, good work, and it should feel that way, and you're doing a good job. And you shouldn't try to not feel that way.
That was a perfect answer because I'm fucking spiraling, so thank you.
Well, the spiral is good, baby. Embrace the spiral. Embrace the spiral.
Yeah.
I think I have time for like one more. Is anyone have it? Yeah, hit me, baby. And the yes, black jacket. I can hear. I'll repeat it. Project.
Talking about me?
Blonde hair.
Blonde hair, your big hoops.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. So my question is like, why the South Asian representation is so low in the media, in the mainstream media?
The question was, why is South Asian representation so low in the media? That's a great question. I think right now, especially, most diverse stories are very, very tough to make. Does anyone work in this industry? By the way, raise your hand if you work in this industry. Cool. If you don't work in this industry, raise your hand. Great. So there's like a mixed bag here. I will tell you, as someone who does work in this industry, it has never been harder to make any story that's diverse. And without getting political, I will say both times we've had this administration, my personal experience has been one that execs their audacity gets very high. In the past couple weeks, I've had an exec verbatim say to me that, Lily, I don't know what to tell you, the days of someone wanting an Indian protagonist are done. I've had very blunt things be said to me about like the minority. One of my friends told me that someone said to them, minority people used up all their drink tickets. You know, those are things that we get told, and so it's very, very tough to get things made, which is why this is an independent feature. I don't think this would have been made with a big studio. I don't think anyone else would have greenlit this. So I think it's hard because one, there's one type of story that's been told, and there's people in power, there's a lot of gatekeepers, and they're just used to it. They don't feel the pressure to have to change. Even though the box office shows differently, Sinners, One of Them Days, Barbie movie, there's so many examples of really, really great movies, but they're always seen as the exception. They're not seen as like proof over and over again, which is really, really tough for us. I also think that, and this is where I'm gonna like tough love a little bit, I like to think of what is in my control. A lot of the stuff about this system and gatekeepers, although I'm fighting against it, a lot of it is not in my control, and that's gonna take a long time to change, and that's why I'm trying to, with my production company, make these movies and trying to do the thing. But it also requires diverse communities being very, very outspoken, vocal, and then showing up as well. And I always tell that, I'll speak specifically to the South Asian community, the amount of times that I'm like, oh, you're enraged? Did you buy a movie ticket? Did you post about it? And another thing that I really want to emphasize is, and this is where I'm gonna get real, I know that when South Asian stories get made and go up there, they're seldom perfect. This movie is so far from perfect. I'll be the first to say that. And when you watch the Never Have I Evers or like the Monkey Man, whatever it is, we have a tendency to criticize our own stuff so harshly. Any underrepresented community will tell you that community is the first to pick them up and the first to tear them down, because we want to be so critical of our own stuff. Like, that accent was bad, this was bad. No creator behind the scenes is making those choices. We are getting forced to make choices. We are forced to make people have the white love interest. We are forced to do this because in our mind we're up against like, do I make it perfect or do I get it made? That is always a question, and I'm always of the belief that it's better to get it made, so that at least it can chip away and chip away and chip away. So from the bottom of my heart, I tell you, we gotta lift our stories up. When we become more mainstream, be critical, tear us apart then, but we're not there yet. And when you tear those things apart in your own community, you are making it harder for them to get made in the future. So I go back to, this movie's not perfect, but y'all need to scream about it from the rooftops if you want more movies like this. And so that's in your hands, to spread the word and make your friends go see the movie. So South Asians, show up.
I think we gotta wrap it up. So while we finish this off, you know, we have this movie coming out this weekend. We're all gonna go buy tickets and see it again, tell our friends.
Yes.
But what's next for you?
Yes.
So people can.
I have 2 follow-up scripts to this. I want to make The Girls Trip with 4 Indian aunties is my next dream movie. I want to make a zombie apocalypse movie that happens at an Indian wedding. You know, I'm trying to do all types of things. I just want to torment myself and make the hardest possible movies that no exam will greenlight. And I'm just gonna do this all over again. But the thought I wanted to end with is, I have 2 requests from you from the bottom of my heart. You've already done so much, so you can ignore both of them. But how many people here have Letterboxd? Raise your hand.
I already wrote my review.
Thank you. I would so appreciate whatever authentic review you have, leave a review. That would really, really appreciate it. I go through there. I have a little alias on there, and I go and stalk and I do a little something. So please leave a review. It comes out on Friday. I cannot stress how important opening weekend is. So this is a limited theatrical release. We're only in a select amount of theaters, and the only way we stay in theaters or go into more theaters is dependent on our opening weekend numbers. So please, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of this weekend, spread the word, tell your friends to go watch it. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is. We're not a big studio movie. It will actually matter if you show up. So that's my last plea to you, but listen, you guys bought a ticket. You have my undying gratitude. I really, really appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much for doing that. First advanced screening of Doing It in LA. Did y'all like the movie? So much from the bottom of my heart. This is my first advanced screening, and I really, really am so happy with all of you. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.